What's up, my spicy Latinas and guys who like to drink those spicy margaritas? I'm your host, Max Pitts, and this is Trades and Gains, and welcome to your mid-morning market update, Trades and Gains style, baby. You know, it's like CNBC if they did shots of tequila before going on the air, because as you know, I love my unhinged opinions and dirty jokes. And today, oh boy, do we have a lineup for you. We've got Nvidia signing a $6.3 billion deal with CoreWeave. Trump saying companies should only report every 6 months instead of every quarter. Elon Musk casually dropping $1 billion on his own stock. And China trying to humble Nvidia. And finally, TikTok may be saved. Well, again, that is. Not that they need to be saved, but as we know, there's been a whole controversy of TikTok needing to come stateside so people can still keep uploading their dance trends. So let's get straight into it. This is basically Shark Tank, but with nuclear weapons and way worse hair. First things first, let's talk about CoreWeave, folks. CoreWeave and Nvidia just announced a $6.3 billion deal. Nvidia agreed to buy any leftover cloud capacity that CoreWeave can't sell. The translation here, CoreWeave is basically saying, hey, Nvidia, you're our safety net. If this whole AI bubble pops, will you at least buy our extra storage? Oh, let me show you my boobs. Yes, and Nvidia said yes. We'll spend $6.3 billion on that. And when you're worth trillions of dollars, people are probably like, why would you do that? Well, when you're worth trillions, $6 billion is like me buying the single mom behind me a latte at Starbucks. So, you know, it's not going to hurt the bank, and it makes me look like a good guy. And maybe I'll become a stepdad. But this shows you how insane the AI demand trade is right now. Companies aren't just selling chips. They're selling the cloud to run the chips that run the AI that replaces the people who buy the chips in the first place. Like, what? Anyways, this is late stage capitalism, folks. We've built a snake that eats itself and it sells subscriptions while doing it. Remember that snake game? If you had the Nokia egg phone, fun fact, my dad's ex-girlfriend was the model for that Nokia egg phone. So I had to throw that pamphlet out when I got the phone. Anyways, there was a snake game on there and you had to like go and eat these little dots and you had to make sure that the snake didn't eat itself. Well, now we want the snake to eat itself because, well, at the end of the day, we have companies buying the thing that they already built. Anyways, let's move on to the next. Trump wants to end quarterly earnings reports. What the frick is going on here, folks? Donald Trump just suggested companies should stop reporting earnings every 3 months and do it every 6 instead. So that would only be 2 earnings reports a year. Now, Wall Street loves this because it means fewer awkward phone calls where the CEOs who have zero sociable skills and no one wants to hear talk in the first place have to come on and say things like, well, you know, revenue was down, Bill, but we still believe in synergy and we're all a family here, right? Because we're a family-forward business that's here to do good for the environment. Shut up. No one cares. And look, he's not wrong either. America is the only place where a company has to prove itself 4 times a year like it's on probation. Like, hey, get in that bathroom, piss in that cup, and show us that you got some clean urine, or we won't believe anything you have to say. But here's the irony. This is Trump saying less transparency is better, which of course is consistent because if you don't have to show your numbers, you can just, well, make them up. Look at all of our macro data from this year, from the BLS, from the Fed. We've had revisions almost every big data report that we've put out. So imagine if these companies had 6 months to cook their books. Oh my God, earnings will be lit like a Travis Scott concert minus the deaths. It's like saying, don't weigh me every week, weigh me every 6 months. That way I can binge for 5 and diet for 1 because they'll just spend 1 month cutting all that weight down. By the way, fun fact, Warren Buffett has been saying this for decades, but when he says it, it's wisdom. When Trump says it, it's probably because he's late on filing because he had to file for bankruptcy again. Because mind you, that man has filed for bankruptcy 6 times and has come back every single time. Hallelujah! Anyways, let's move on to Elon Musk buying $1 billion in stock. So Elon Musk just bought $1 billion in Tesla stock. Yeah, $1 billion with a B. Becky. And suddenly the stock jumps 6% because nothing reassures investors like the CEO saying, don't worry, guys, I still believe in my company, at least until the next Dogecoin rally. Now, remember, this is the same Elon who sold $20 billion worth of Tesla stock in 2022 to buy Twitter. Excuse me, X. You know, the app where news goes to die and memes go to live. So if you're keeping score, he dumped Tesla to buy Twitter, then Tesla crashed, and now he's buying back Tesla so he can maybe afford to dump it again when he starts, I don't know, Mars Coin or some other venture, because we just found out that robots are going to make up 80% of their revenue. But here's the bigger issue. Tesla's sales are slumping. They're losing EV market share, people. And Elon's response is basically, don't worry, we've got robo-taxis and humanoid robots coming, which is great, except we've been hearing that since 2018. At this point, the only robot that's shown up is Elon himself because this man doesn't stop. Now, meanwhile, China just ruled that Nvidia violated antitrust laws in a 2020 deal. You see what's happening here? This isn't about monopolies. It's about leverage. Beijing says, nice AI chip business you've got there. Be a shame if something regulatory happened to it. This is the part of the ongoing US-China trade war where Nvidia is caught in the middle. The US bans them from selling high-end chips to China, and China says, okay, then we'll sue you for the deals we did approve. How about that? Come see me. Catch me outside. How about that? It's like watching divorced parents fight, except you don't get double the Christmas presents this time. And Nvidia is the kid holding the Xbox controller and just crying. And let's be clear, this isn't about chips. It's about power. This is a dick measuring contest with microchips. Whoever controls AI chips controls the future. And right now, Nvidia is basically the OPEC of artificial intelligence. And one thing to note, China is responsible for buying 53% of the chip supply in the world. So kind of what they say when it comes to AI chips is law. It's basically like Trump when he comes out and make those asinine statements that we all have to listen to, except with microchips. And speaking of US-China drama, yeah, TikTok, it's back. Trump says the US and China have basically agreed on its fate. I promise it's going to be huge. Look, every 6 months we get this story. TikTok will be banned unless it's sold to an American company. And then, spoiler alert, it never happens. Why? Because banning TikTok would cause full-on Gen Z rebellion. Imagine 100 million teenagers suddenly realizing they have to talk to people in the real world or spend time with their parents. No. Trump says, quote, we've reached a deal on certain company young people really want to save, which is the vaguest sentence in history. That's not policy. That's a horoscope. That's like opening up and reading a fortune cookie, basically. Meanwhile, the Treasury says we won't sacrifice national security for the social media app, which is funny because that's exactly what we've been doing for Facebook since 2006, you hypocrites. So let's recap. Nvidia is selling $6.3 billion of cloud to itself. Trump wants CEOs to have more time to lie. Elon just did a $1 billion flex on them. No flex zone. China is coming for Nvidia's crown, and TikTok is the international custody battle that we never wanted and will never end. It's not an economy, folks. It's a reality show, and we're all forced to watch. Think of the Truman Show. Anyway, this was your midday market update. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you all have a great trading session today. I might hop on live here in a couple minutes, so come join me. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a great day. Have a great week. See you guys next time.